April Windsor and Dylan Penders have overcome countless obstacles in Emmerdale, but this new hurdle might finally tear them apart. Ever since Dylan arrived in the village, the pair have barely left each other's side, managing to escape the dangerous grip of Ray Walters and Celia Daniels together. Their survival was far from simple. Ray even attempted to run Dylan down with his car, while Celia tried to force April into sex trafficking. Still, their bond only grew stronger through it all. Now, as the trial date draws nearer, anxiety is building. Paddy Kirk and the others are facing serious charges, and they begin bracing themselves for a future that could be completely turned upside down. With uncertainty looming over Dylan's fate, difficult choices lie ahead. April makes the first move, deciding she will stand by Dylan regardless of what happens. He has rescued her more times than she can count, from life on the streets to Ray's cruel schemes. She loves him deeply, feels she owes him everything, and is determined to wait for him no matter the cost. However, Dylan refuses to accept this. In his eyes, April is the one who saved him, and he won't allow her to throw her future away for his sake. In a decision that is both deeply romantic and painfully unnecessary, Dylan concludes that the only option is to let April go. He begins plotting to end their relationship before the trial, hoping to free her from any burden. But Marlon soon learns of Dylan's plan to break up and disappear, and quickly reveals everything to April. April, who has repeatedly shown her strength, is not someone who can be easily dismissed or pushed aside. Emmerdale's Jacob has been labelled obsessed as Dr. Todd steps up her manipulation. Dr. Caitlin Todd is continuing her efforts to undermine medical student Jacob Sugden, hinting in tonight's episode that he may have developed inappropriate feelings for her. After moving to the village, Dr. Todd was sent a bottle of champagne, accompanied by a note claiming it was from Jacob. Later, she ran into him while walking with Manpreet Sharma and Vanessa Woodfield, and used the moment to publicly embarrass her bewildered student, who insisted he had nothing to do with the gift. "You don't need to lie," Dr. Todd told him, describing the present as inappropriate. "I've already had to remind him about boundaries before," she later told Manpreet and Vanessa, suggesting Jacob had misread their professional relationship as something romantic. Jacob later questioned his grandfather about the champagne, only for Pollard to admit he had sent it as a welcome gesture. Hurt that his grandfather acted without telling him, Jacob stormed off. At the Woolpack, Pollard offered to explain the misunderstanding to Dr. Todd, but Jacob refused, saying he didn't want any further involvement. Feeling overwhelmed, he asked Rich to swap shifts so he could avoid working with the Dragon. Unknowingly, that change meant he would be scheduled alongside Dr. Todd on a blood run. At the pub, Dr. Todd informed Jacob they would be working together and later told Manpreet that Jacob had actually rearranged his shift to be near her. She also sought Manpreet's advice on how to deal with Jacob, claiming he was not obsessed, just taken with her. Manpreet suggested that Jacob should simply be assigned to a different mentor if things felt uncomfortable, but Dr. Todd rejected the idea, saying she didn't want to abandon him. So what is her next move to make Jacob's life even harder? In upcoming scenes, Jacob eventually uncovers her scheme and reports her for bullying, but how she responds remains to be seen. Dr. Todd prepares to deal with Jacob in Emmerdale as her troubling obsession allegation escalates. Jacob Gallagher has been left a shadow of his former self, thanks to Dr. Caitlin Todd's ongoing bullying in Emmerdale. For reasons that have yet to be revealed, Dr. Todd appears to take a disturbing satisfaction in undermining Jacob's confidence. Whenever the opportunity arises, she dismisses him as an inadequate trainee doctor who will never qualify. To complicate matters further, she also alternates between criticism and praise, occasionally offering Jacob encouragement or opportunities before immediately tearing him down again. The result has been a confused and frustrated Jacob, unable to predict her behavior. Whenever he attempts to defend himself, Todd quickly counters him, often twisting the situation or implying that his reactions are the real problem. A darker side to Dr. Todd emerged recently when she recorded a dictaphone note suggesting she believed Jacob was becoming obsessed with her. At the time, Jacob was already treading carefully around her, fearful of making things worse. When he repeatedly raised concerns about her behavior, Todd reframed his actions, using the opportunity to build a false narrative and establish a paper trail that does not reflect reality. That manipulation escalated in tonight's episode when she discovered a bottle of champagne left at her door after moving in with Vanessa Woodfield. She confronted Jacob in front of Vanessa and Manpreet Sharma, insisting the gesture crossed professional boundaries. Jacob denied any involvement, later learning that the gift had actually been sent by Eric Pollard, who had meant it as a friendly welcome. Desperate for a break from his difficult superior, Jacob called colleague Rich and arranged a shift swap so he could attend a blood donation session at the Hyde the following day. However, his relief was short-lived when he discovered that Dr. Todd would be supervising the event. This gave her the perfect opening to claim that Jacob had rearranged his shift in order to spend more time with her. Emmerdale fans believe they've worked out who is behind the barn fire in the latest episode, following Moira Dingle's release from prison. Robert Sugden and Aaron Dingle's new start on Emmerdale Farm initially seemed to be going well. However, it came at a heavy cost for Moira Dingle, who had been wrongly imprisoned after police suspected her involvement in Celia Daniels and Ray Walters' modern slavery operation. Robert eventually confessed to Aaron that he had planted the victims' IDs at Moira's home on behalf of Joe Tate, who had been blackmailing him with footage of Victoria killing John Sugden. Although he was prepared to turn himself into the police to protect Moira, Aaron persuaded him to hold off for one more night. That delay proved crucial, as they later uncovered new evidence that helped clear her name. On Thursday, Moira finally returned home after her wrongful imprisonment and was relieved to reunite with her family, despite the change in circumstances. Later, when she said she wanted to visit Holly's memorial tree, Kane was forced to deliver the upsetting news that Joe had arranged for it to be cut down. Heartbroken, Moira left flowers at the remaining stump before heading to Butler's farm to confront him. There, she crossed paths with Robert and Joe. As tensions rose and Joe dismissed her concerns, the smell of smoke suddenly cut through the moment. The group quickly realized one of the barns was on fire and rushed to contain it before it spread further. Although Joe denied any involvement, Robert was visibly unconvinced, and viewers at home seemed to agree, with many convinced he is responsible for the blaze. Emmerdale hints at Mandy's hidden secret as Paddy faces the possibility of prison time. Mandy Dingle finds herself guarding a secret next week, just as her husband Paddy begins to worry about the possibility of being sent to prison. As the couple reflect on what life might look like if they are separated for a long period, it becomes increasingly clear that one of them is not being fully honest. Paddy recently admitted his role in helping his father Bear Wolf cover up Ray Walters' death. He and Dylan Penders both confessed to assisting in moving the body and concealing the truth, hoping their cooperation would support Bear's claim that he acted in self-defense. With a court case now approaching, Paddy and Dylan are left anxious about how harsh their sentences could be. Next week, Paddy tells Mandy how relieved he is that her salon business will provide her with a steady income if he ends up behind bars. The last thing Paddy wants is for Mandy to struggle if he's not around, explains an Emmerdale insider. He believes the salon is doing well and that she'll be financially secure. In reality, Paddy is focused on Bear and Dylan and hasn't realized that things may not be as straightforward in Mandy's world as he thinks. Emmerdale continues weeknights at 8 p.m.